scenes. All right, here we are. Welcome in, everyone. It's Monday. And I think my audio is just a little bit low. Hey, I want to address something right off the top. Somebody had, actually, a couple of people had said, hey, why don't you guys just get to it already? What's with the long openings? And you're right. And also, we're right doing it this way too, because what happens is when you go live right away, the audience just doesn't appear. So we need a little bit of a buffer time to get people to log in and find their computer, get their computer booted up or whatever. And people don't like to miss the beginning. Now, when there's the recorded version, boy, I wish there was an ability on Rumble to edit like there is on YouTube, because we can go in and chop that beginning section off. Because in the replay, you don't need it because you're wanting to go there. So I hear you. I wish there was a different way. At the moment, there isn't. We're going to work on it though. Boy, Monday. Wow. What's going on this Monday? Well, all eyes today are on what? What city? Come on, you guys know. Oh, yeah, Chi-Town, right? The Windy City. Called the Windy City not because of the wind, but because of the blowhard politicians. Literally, that's where the term comes from. I lived there for 2 years, worst 2 years of my life, but I lived there for 2 years. And, after I left Long Island, I went there and realized that people in Chicago hate people from New York. So I didn't stay very long. And then from there, I came to San Diego. I got my experience there. I got to see a little bit of what that world is about. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. But before I do that, I'm not going to do it alone. I have a guy who's standing by who looks very well tanned, spent a lot of time in the hot tub, working hard all weekend. Here's my hot tub buddy, Louis Herms. How are you, my friend?
I've got a guy. Did you say I've got a guy? Perfect for
I got a guy.
Chicago. I got a guy. Um, sorry, Chicago, and I think even people from Chicago don't like people from Chicago. I'm just, I'm just saying. um, yeah, it's rough. And for you, so anybody asking about the song and so on and so forth. The other thing too is when you go to the recording, you guys can just fast forward past that
Yeah.
section. So it's not a big deal. And I would say 90% of the people appreciate the music. So it's one of those things we can't appease everybody all the time, but it is what it is. Now, I do not think that Robert picked that music video today for Jimi Hendrix or for the song. I think he picked it for the video.
I think it was for the video. You think so?
I'm just saying, I think you chose that for the video.
It was really hard pressed. We had a meeting this morning, and time just got really compressed for me, so I needed to go quickly. So I have on my little play deck here something called a Tony Robbins playlist, and that was one of the songs that was in it. So I'm like, oh, that's good. Is Tony Robbins approved? It's approved by me too. Let me go find it.
Very cool.
So Monday's here. How was your weekend? Are you alive and well and full of energy and spunk and ready to go?
Okay.
I'll buy it. Damn it! I'll buy it.
Um, sorry, I've literally got something in my eye. I don't know what's going on. Um,
It's a ball. I saw it. It's a ball.
I know. It's fun. That's the joke I use when somebody says they have something in your eye. I go, it's an eyeball. Um, yeah, it's been a very actually productive weekend. I did spend a long stint in the jacuzzi yesterday, but I built a working table, as some people that know me. I have a working table, I have my laptop. I even, Robert, you'd be proud, I even set up a second monitor yesterday because I was doing some graphic work and some other things literally in my jacuzzi. So if I can keep my back warm, which I need to do, and work at the same time, it was a bonus.
If Lewis ever appears on the show with curly hair, we'll know exactly what happened.
Yes, and well, it's so funny because people that I know have been afraid of that, but I understand the way electricity works. When you use electricity on laptops and things like that, it actually converts from AC to DC.
Hmm.
The reduced voltage, so you go from 110 coming out of the wall in AC, which is alternate current, to a direct current of say anywhere from 9 to 12 volts. It's not even dangerous, not even a concern actually. So a lot of people have seen this. Oh my God, that's crazy! You have cords hanging over the water. But if they understood the way the electricity works, It's not a concern at all. If anything, it would just be like taking a 5-hour energy.
Yep.
Hello, ready to go.
Your audio dropped out and then came back, so we're just dealing with that continued issue. Okay. So have you been watching at all in the news and what's been going on
No,
this weekend?
is there news? I hear there's so that the Democrats picked the best city with their most favorite constituents called Chicago, right? Because they knew that everybody would love them when they showed up. Is that what you're talking about?
That's partly what I'm talking about. We're certainly going to spend a lot of time on that today because that is the story of the day. Certainly everything started to pop, I think, yesterday because people started to arrive and we started to see an interesting statistic. There's a company that's tracking cell phones of Antifa members and they're counting how many of them have converged on Chicago. Last count was 104,000 of them.
Yeah, I saw that. That seems I don't. I'll be honest with you. If there's 104,000 Antifa members, that is already concerning in itself. Not
Yep.
just that they're all showing up to there. I mean, that's a legitimate concern. What do you think?
Well, there's a couple of things. We also saw that they called the National Guard yesterday. So the National Guard was on the streets
Mhm.
last night, and Phoebe was doing some checking on that, and she said there's something else here. There's something bigger going to happen, and it seems like it's all converging. We don't know. I mean, we're not. We can only speculate at this point until it all rolls out, and it doesn't seem normal. And you saw the shopkeepers boarding up their stores on the weekend. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, they didn't do that during the RNC. They made a lot of money, those store owners, but not here. Yeah, the stores all boarded up, and nothing about this. The dots aren't connecting, right? So you have Antifa. Why would Antifa be there protesting against their own side?
Yeah,
There's pieces
exactly.
here that don't make sense.
Well, like except for
Well,
Antifa goes where they're paid. That's really what they care about,
right.
and where they can create chaos. Interesting enough that the Republicans held a very peaceful, incident-free, but the wonderful free speech liberals are going to have problems. How exactly is that?
Pro-Palestinian protests last night, and they came up on stage and grabbed the mic and started yelling, and
Hilarious.
yeah, yeah.
Now, I remember I was on January 6th when I was at the Capitol. I just remembered 100,000 National Guard. Oh no, there were no National Guard there.
They weren't
Inter-
there.
Interesting
Yeah,
enough. Okay, but we can get them approved for this. Is
bingo.
it? Huh?
There
How
you
does
go.
that work exactly?
Okay, yeah, and then the next layer that you could put on top of that is, we've been hearing over and over again, the white hats are in control of the National Guard. Okay,
Yeah, well, that means there's going to be a lot of arrests the last day of the convention. That'd be fun.
there are some positing that the convention won't end, that it will be canceled before it gets to the end. There's hospitals around. Weird. Why would you prepare for that in your emergency rooms? You know what I mean? It's just there's these signs coming out, these signals coming out, and you can't really put the puzzle together yet until we see it unfold. But there's stuff that is, to use your word, concerning.
Yeah, well, if there is 104,000 Antifa members that have decided to go there, I would say the real purpose would be to do an attack on we the people and the Democrats and blame that on people that are supporting MAGA type people supporting Trump. That would be my guess of how they'll try to play it, but we'll see.
All right. Before we jump too deep, I want to give us a little preview of Verity Metals. They are one of our sponsors, and we love them.
So Verity Metals is actually pretty awesome, and they've stepped up to be our number one sponsor for the Unity Tour, which we're very, very excited about. Matt's a great guy. Matt Geiger's over there. You call that number, you're going to get Matt directly, and he's going to show you how you can move money into silver and gold in many different ways to keep it safe and he's creating a new system, which I think is amazing, on how you can track a lot better than any other companies in that are competitive with him. Track your money to see how it was delivered, where it was, what the process is, showing receipts, which is just a higher level of protection. So and he's extraordinarily competitive. So if you need to move an IRA around, or just an investment, or just flat out buy silver and gold, he'll probably convince you to buy coins instead of bars because he thinks they hold their value better, and especially if they're US printed. So I would agree with them. You definitely should try Matt over at Verity Metals, 480-717-9081.
Or go visit him online, veritymetals.com. His website's up now, it's working, and you can reach him there. Nice guy, easy to talk to, no hard pressure selling. And Matt, we appreciate you and all you do to support our show. And of course, the Unity Tour, which is, getting pretty close. We're having more and more meetings, and the to do list is getting longer and longer each day. But we're gonna make it happen. It's gonna be a really great tour. Can't wait to see it unfold. All right. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on. We're going to talk a lot about, we'll call it, is this the right word for it? Communism?
Communism, I love it. I love it.
Um, I'm fascinated by this whole concept from the perspective of they ain't hiding it. It's right out there in front of your face, from price gouging, not price gauging, as she said, from price gouging, price fixing, all that sort of thing. Well, that's what they do in communist countries. And what that ends up doing is when you force a company to sell a product like a loaf of bread for less than it costs them to produce it, how long before the company can't produce anymore?
Yep.
How long before the store shelves are empty? And that's what happens a lot of times in communist countries. Why there's long food lines is because companies can't produce for the price that they're told that they can sell it for. What say you, Mr. Herms?
Yeah, and I completely agree, and it's interesting to watch the pattern, how this generally happens. So the first thing that you're told is we must have democracy, not a republic. They say a democracy, right? That's how they convince people. And then they say you must have socialism because socialism will protect you. We want to protect you. We want to take care of you. You can't take care of yourself. And then it goes into communism where we have to make the decisions for you, because if we don't make the decisions for you and we don't put in these acts that prevent you from doing some things, you will hurt yourself and you will damage everything else. It's the only way. And the next step is totalitarianism slash martial law. And if you look throughout history, it's virtually the same playbook all the time. And what it really is, it's a complete manipulation. I feel currently we are communist at this point. But there's the difference between a previous Soviet Union, not Russia. Let's be clear about that. The difference between a Soviet Union communism and where we are is we're at the beginning. We saw the Soviet Union already full on, so they already pushed back the people. They already removed all the weapons. They already put all the force down. We're right at that cusp. The good news is I feel personally really, really good because I am now more than I was a year ago. I'm very happy at watching the people starting to step up and say enough is enough, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But so yeah, uh, Kamala or was it communism? The hell is it? Kamala, isn't it?
Communism. Communism.
Isn't
That's
it?
what it's called.
Isn't it just easier just to call her knee pad Harris?
Yeah, it is. So, tagging along with what you just said, Dr. Naomi Wolf was interviewed last week on Alex Jones's show Infowars, and she has always been prescient in her vision of what's going on. She's been able to, and she's been highly accurate too, really accurate. She
Wish I had the time to look at it. I might play it in the background. Actually, it sounds really nice.
Yeah, it's yeah, well, yeah. I don't know. It had me pretty riled up, but I don't normally get riled up, but it had me pretty riled up after watching it. And I said, Phoebe, don't watch this video because it's going to rile you up too. And you don't want that. So
Yeah. Well, facts matter, don't they?
they do. And when you start putting the pieces together, and I think that's really what's important here is we really got to start putting the pieces together on all of this because it's just coming at us so quickly, and we get a little piece here and then we forget about it. Hey, what happened with the Trump assassination? Boy, that's been out of the media for forever. The assassination attempt. What happened? That's a pretty damn big story, but there's so many more stories that came after it. How do you keep up with it all? And I think that's what we're in, and it's sort of intentional to inundate us to the point where we cannot process it all. And I think that's how a lot of this stuff is happening without our awareness. Because look over there, and they're doing things over here. They're advancing their agenda. We don't even know about it until it's already done. So we are in major psyop territory, no question.
It's maddening. It really is.
Maddening is a very polite and Lewis Herms like word to use. Yes, I would use something a little stronger on some days, but not today. People are picking up on Rob. Rob seemed a little frustrated. Yeah, he is. Just a little frustrated today. Here's Kamala's report card. Actually, I don't know why we're doing this. This doesn't seem. I know they're trying to tag her with everything negative, but she wasn't the acting president for the past 3.5 years. The other guy was.
Well, what we're doing is we're playing the same game that the Democrats always play, right?
Yep.
So somehow they will link the candidate to what was happening negative in the previous administration. They've been doing that for 50 years. So I'm assuming that's what we're doing. We're just using their same weapons against them. Uh, I guess the only way they could do is they could say, well, this was your administration. This was your guy. This is who you're vice president under. You said you supported him, everything he did. That's the only way I think. Ironically, though, those numbers are incorrect. They're very
They're really
low.
low.
They're very
Yeah, they're
low.
low.
Yeah,
Yep.
in many, many cases. So I
Yep.
find that it's interesting. So, okay, as everybody remembers the Sound of Freedom. And in the movie, they said which is not true. There's over $1 trillion. I did the investigation. I did the numbers. We extrapolated, and it's reasonably over $1 trillion. But I hypothesize that the reason why they used a lower number is because they knew it could not be refuted by the mainstream media. So I'm guessing that the reason why they're using lower numbers here, because this is what I would call the safe zone, where none of it could be refuted, not even with number manipulation. So my guess is that's why they're using this. What's your feeling?
I think when you look at the gasoline prices here in California, it's well over 100% difference from when Trump was in office to
Right.
now. And one thing that we didn't factor in that had nothing to do with Harris or Biden was that they dramatically increased the gas tax here. It's over $1 a gallon in California. What now? Yeah, every gallon you put, there's more than $1 that goes to California state tax, and that bumped up the price. So it can't come down to the $1.79 it was back in 2019. So
That's
there are other factors here.
Yep. Well, California doesn't know how to do a balanced budget, so they just have to keep raising taxes.
Well, yeah, they got to keep bringing more money in because they can't hang on to what they've got. This is the world we live in. This is, yeah. Oh, well. Hey, before we go on, let me tell you about the Unity Tour and everything coming up there. You're going to find it on screwbiggov.com. People always ask, where should I go? Where should I go? I tell them, screwbiggov.com. That's where you'll find everything Lewis is up to. And guys, really important, the correct, honest, truthful, official social media links are on this website. Don't believe anybody else. Somebody sends you an email, hey, this is a Screw Big Gov thing. Don't go to the website, go to screwbiggov.com. Make sure that you click on the links that are in there. That'll take you to the official channels because there's a lot of copycats out there. The more successful or the more popular you become, the more the copycats are out there. And really all they're trying to do is con you out of your money. Seriously. So pay attention to that. And same with my channel too. I got the same thing going on here. RenegadeMedia.tv is where you want to go, and also Renegade Media on Telegram. And again, those are the only two channels you want to go to. There are some things that get posted in there, and they pretend that they're from Renegade Media. I remove them immediately because they are spam, and we don't want you to fall for any of this nonsense. So, all right, shall we continue, dear Lewis?
Sure, I just did a search while we were doing that. So California sells an average of 14 billion gallons of gasoline a year. So now you know how much revenue they make just off of gasoline.
Wow. Wow. Well, someone's got to pay for the health care for the illegals, and they got to pay for the housing and the food. Got to get the money somewhere.
So I want to read something in chat because it's very important. This is something we talk about all the time. So in our chat, USA America says, quote, my daughter's friend missing 3 days, just found her body. Close the borders, deport, deport, deport. So by the way, God bless and prayers to your daughter and the family of the young lady the lady that's passed. Why is this important? Because you constantly hear these podcasters, it's just a movie. It's just a movie. It's just a
I hate
movie.
that. I hate that.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, have some responsibility. This type of stuff doesn't happen if it's just a movie. There's a bigger picture here. Now, are there elements of it that can be a movie? Yes. Are there elements of it that could be white hat controlled? Yes. Are we still in a war and a battle? 100%. So I don't understand why people can't wrap their hands around both narratives at the same time. They're either all in on a movie or all in that the cabal controls things, and there's evidence that both things can happen at the same time.
Well, you think about it, it's a psyop war. So definitely some things are going to be acted, movies, right? They're going to be planned and rehearsed and that kind of thing. We know that, but that doesn't say all of it is. And anytime you go to all or nothing, you're in danger zone because there is no all, there is no nothing. There's always this millions of colors in between, and it's somewhere in between. And I think you're right, Lewis. Is some of it is folly, some of it is just show, some of it is the movie, a lot of it is still real, and
I believe it's very possible that a lot of the big guys, big gals, were taken off the map right at the beginning. I have a belief, which by the way differs from my wife, is I believe that the good guys may have gone in and fixed a lot of the poisonous food issues. I don't know that, but I've seen what seems to be some evidence of that, right? So what you see on your screen right here, and this is why we want to be very, very careful with calling everything just black and white, right? So I wrote this a while ago. It's not all black and white. The satanic Freemasons need you to believe that everything is black and white because this is the division of duality. In the reality, there's a full spectrum of color that is completely avoided in most conversations. So I would say keep your mind open in many, many scenarios, and it will serve you well. But as soon as you go to the black and white, you're literally playing in the satanic wheelhouse. If that's where you choose to operate, I would just be very careful.
all right, we're getting news just in that the fences are now being torn down by the thugs there in security fence outside the DNC is being torn down. They don't say by who though. They've all got masks on. We can't tell who they are.
Hmm.
That's
Well,
interesting. Okay.
they got to protect themselves from sheep pox.
Sheeppox, baby. How do you like the new Harris Walls slogan for their campaign? Strength through joy. Oops.
Oh
Guess where
my,
this originates from?
wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, okay, this is just the thing. It's like why did they get to a point? And Naomi Wolf had mentioned this in the interview, and she said they are so ballsy right now because they're just like nobody's done anything to stop them, right? So they're like, we're just going to do whatever we want, and what are you going to do about it? And she said basically, the thinking is that they have their hands on all the levers of power. military, police, three-letter agencies, government, judicial, all through all that. So they're like, you guys have no power. But this is just it's unreal how it's so in our face, and they make no apologies for it.
Yeah. So is that part of the movie?
The positive that I could see here is it may wake up more people. There's a video I'm going to play in just a moment here. Where is it here? Dems build a wall. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Let's see if I'll jump ahead. See if I can find it.
So my question to everybody is, do you think that they could have done the Democratic Party could have done any worse than these two candidates? I don't.
No,
I think these are
no.
the possibly the two worst potential candidates for VP and president in that's ever been not only been run. That's clear. They're the worst that's ever even made it on a ticket. I don't think that's even disputable. But they may have also been the worst two choices they could have picked from the from the Democratic Party. When if you look at all the governors and all the senators, I don't think they could have done worse than these two. Which you have to ask why. So clearly, there's somebody else running the show here that wants them to look like total buffoons, because they're doing a good job of that.
Yep, you're 100% right. I'll go back to the Naomi Wolf interview, and yes, we are being run, not by the American government. And something that you'll see if you go back in there is kind of interesting. It's what she said. She said we've got the wrong thinking about how we're looking at all of this. We're looking at it through the lens of an American, right? And in America, we don't do this, and we have our Constitution, and we have a framework, right? And she said they've thrown that out the window completely. This is foreigners with a completely different set of beliefs, a completely different set of rules. They've thrown the Constitution out the window. And it's like the moment we recognize that it's no longer being controlled by Americans, then we can begin to understand what's really going on here. Like, it's a crazy interview. I mean, just like, I can't wait for you to see it. I want your
Yeah.
opinion on it.
Now,
Yeah.
I agree that that could be the case, but that's not a justification for them choosing the absolute two worst candidates. Because who's ever in control, let's say if she's going with that, it's the baddies in control. So if it's the baddies in control, let's say the Chinese, they're not stupid. So and they can definitely find somebody that's compromised with charisma, i.e., Barack Obama, Bill Clinton. Very charismatic guys, great speakers. They drew people in, whether you liked them or not. That's just what they did, and they were completely compromised and part of the cabal. So, to me, what doesn't add up with what Naomi's saying is she's indicating the run by the baddies. I look from her perspective, it totally makes sense, except they're not dumb. Why would they still choose the absolute two worst candidates out there? That
You're
is not
thinking these two will be coronated.
that does not resonate with me.
Right. But we're still thinking that Kamala has the nomination.
Right. It could
There's a
change in the
lot of
next 2
rumblings
days.
that that's just going to be removed.
Yeah, we'll see, right?
Yeah, we will see. I mean, it's so crazy. It's like, well, who's the candidate now? Oh, well, some are saying it's Big Mike, and SG Anon still believes it might be the dark horse Hillary Clinton. So we don't know. All we can do is watch at this point.
Yeah, well, it is. It's all we can ever do is watch at this point, and that's why we say the micro fixes the macro. Worry about your little community, large community, whatever it is, and if we get all the micro fixed, that will transcend, and that will take care of the macro. But we tend to focus on the national. By the way, is exactly where the cabals want our eyes at all times.
Exactly. They want us distracted. There's a guy that was on yesterday's protest. So, does it make sense that they may not coronate her when you see that? You see that level of protesting outside against her? I mean, they couldn't even fake making her win. I mean, they're faking the polls right now. We saw the Fox News poll that she's leading Trump nationally. 51 to 49. I'm like, really? Nobody's going to believe that.
This is the public takedown of Fox News, is I believe what you're seeing here.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have to sell the narrative of 50-50.
What they end up saying is like, well, it's plausible. It's possible. We find out too that Kamala is under Russian influence. This you didn't know. There you go.
That's a good one.
Uh, Well, the story now is that the laughter and all the rest of that is it kind of fits now when they say, well, she's a heavy drinker apparently, and they don't want her reading off, not doing anything other than reading off the teleprompter. She's really hard to control, and the temper of somebody who's an alcoholic is very violent and very angry, and she had what 80% of the people that work with her quit in the last 3.5 years. So
Well,
there's some value there. I
what
mean,
she,
there's
the reason why they quit is because they had to unburden what has been.
what has been exactly. Where's the T-shirt, Lewis? We want the T-shirt.
There's one person in the nation that has that T-shirt.
Oh, only one, huh?
I ordered it for my wife today.
And it'll be
We'll,
here by Friday. Good
no,
job.
we'll be putting it up on the website soon.
So the Harris Walls motorcade passed by, head on its way to Chicago today, and this is interesting. Where is her support? I don't even see one there. What is up? How could she be
Great.
leading 51-49? Come on.
Hi. So
Don't believe your eyes.
here's what I don't understand. She's the vice president and she travels in a caravan of buses. I'm sorry,
Yep.
that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Yeah, maybe she has everybody else traveling those, and she's following in one of the chase cars. But there were only two chase cars there, by the way. Vice president wouldn't have only two chase cars. There's a lot of things that don't add up into that, right? She's next in line to be president, and if anybody's really believing the narrative, and she has two buses and two chase cars. It's not adding up, and these are the little idiosyncrasies that we should look at because it just does not make sense.
Well, this is, I was telling this to Phoebe the other day. It's like I've got a puzzle in front of me. I've got a blue piece, and I've got a green piece, and I've got a red piece. And I think the blue piece might be the ocean. Oh no, and I get more pieces, and I realize, no, it's not the ocean. Maybe it's just a car. No, it can't be that. And it's like we don't have enough puzzle pieces to really make a picture of what's going on at this point. Then, you and I, we rack our brains every day trying to, piece this and piece that together. And so much of it doesn't go. I mean, you get two puzzle pieces. They look like they fit, but they just don't. And if you're like me, when I was a kid with puzzles, I would just form there anyway, or take an X-Acto knife and cut it so it fit. 'Cause I want to finish the darn thing, but we're not getting there, and there's still a lot more to uncover here.
Yeah, there's a lot to uncover, and this is why I pointed out that Freemasonic chart. So if we go purely black and white on this, it's just it can't add up. The
Right.
numbers, it just doesn't add up. There's something else going on here. Now we can pretend. I mean, Robert, let's get the numbers. Let's triple our following, and let's just start telling everybody that this is just a movie. This is all that you're seeing right here. Or let's triple our numbers and say uh, the Kamala Harris looks like she's going to be president. The crowds are crazy. I don't know what to do. I'm going to fall off a cliff. Or let's reduce our numbers to a third and just tell the truth. Such a weird concept, isn't it? And
No.
the reason why I point this out so often is because, folks, we are accountable. I'm not asking you to leave those channels and come to ours. I'm just saying. I was working out with my wife and we are talking today. One of the challenges why we haven't moved past this quick enough is if we announce like Lewis is going to expose a certain truther, right? We'll get 4 times the viewership
Yeah.
because people are still in the New Jersey Shore real world drama mentality, right? And it's very unfortunate. We have to own up to that and understand that that mentality, that thirst to feel that type of energy coming through you, is what brought us to this place in the first place. And maybe that's some weird addiction. I get it. Many people have it. That we just have to take a deep breath and go, you know what? I'm done with that. I don't want to go on these drama channels anymore. That's exactly where we were. It's just under another name right now. So, something we have to
Very true.
think about.
Yep.
You can't handle the truth.
I can handle the truth. I don't know about you, Lewis. I can handle the truth.
Yeah, it's
I'm
it,
laughing at it because it's the craziest thing. So much of it is just way out there that you and I growing up, we would have thought anybody talking like this, they have a couple of screws loose. And yet, here we are, you know?
yeah. I have I have at least two screws loose myself.
Well, I have a 15-year-old cat that doesn't have any screws loose, and there's a neighboring cat that's been coming around, and boy, is it upsetting him. He has to run outside to chase him away every day. I'm like, hey, dude, you're 15. He doesn't know it though. Boy, we put him on the Pet Club 24/7 food, and boy, he's just a bundle of energy. So good to see. So good to see he's happy and doing well. And we're hearing a lot of stories from people who buy this food and you know share with their pets as well that they're doing much better. They're living 18 to 24 months longer than maybe they would have otherwise. Now you can imagine if you were feeding them really highly nutritious food from the very start, how long they would live. I encourage you to go screwbiggov.com/pets. Go have a look at what they've got. They've got food for cats, for dogs, for horses, and for the two-legged variety of human. You're going to like what you see there, too. They've got the mushroom supplement there that a lot of people rave about, and they say it's really helped them. Bruce has been telling us, too, after he got his pacemaker replaced, that he was using their mushroom supplement, and the doctor was amazed at how quickly he healed. So, screwbiggov.com/pets. Find out more.
Very cool. Speaking of
Goody.
screws, I like people to chime in here. My wife for the last couple of years has had a thing where she goes, she would constantly see a screw lying on the ground. I don't know if that's some spiritual thing or what's going on. I would never see them. I saw only reason I remembered is I found one 2 days ago, and it made me think of her that she often at one time it was almost weekly, sometimes daily, I think, would see a screw and she goes, there's another one out of nowhere too. And in our house sometimes where, I mean, I have a screw loose. Maybe they're just falling out of my head and she's seeing them. I don't know.
I was going to say that, but I wasn't going to say that. I don't know. What is the meaning of a screw? We got to look up they have animal totems, right? So when you see an animal or a wild animal that coming by you, for me, it's like an owl or a coyote or a bobcat or something around here. And you go look online. Oh, it's my animal totem. What's the message? Try to figure it out. So I don't know if they have one for inanimate objects like a screw.
Yeah, very interesting.
Be interesting. Yeah, no question. So we talked earlier about Chicago being a hotspot, and interestingly enough, they brought out the National Guard last night. So they're there, and there's feeling. Phoebe was telling me about this. She says this doesn't feel right. They didn't have National Guard on Jan 6. Well, we know they wanted that whole thing to explode. And as 107 said, they were really hoping to kick off a civil war here in the United States with that. And of course, our side was the wiser and didn't bite, a handful maybe, but it didn't happen. So the question that we have and we maybe need to ask now is what is the expectation of violence here that would get them to the point where they would call on the National Guard? What say you, Mr. Herms?
Ah, great. I really don't know. It'd be so fun if they go in and they arrest live a bunch of cabal members. Maybe Antifa really is in the area, and the National Guard is actually going to prevent a problem. That would be awesome because
Mm-hmm.
they have the ability to do that. But then the question is, who's in control of the National Guard, really?
That is the question. Yes. Yes. So if they were nationalized, I guess it is under Trump, is what we heard, that he nationalized the National Guard. And we've seen Derek Johnson and others reporting that National Guard is operating outside of their home state, which they're not supposed to do. We've actually seen National Guard, and I knew one personally who was one of the tellers at the bank I was going to. And he said, I won't be here next week. And I said, why not? He says, I'm being shipped off to the Middle East. I'm like, you're in the National Guard. What's that about? He says, I don't know. I never expected it. He hasn't been back, so I don't know. It's been more than a year now. He hasn't been back, so we don't know.
Yeah, it's very possible Derek is correct. I mean, I think he's correct on a lot of his info, and some of it I don't think he is. But I mean, that's why we have debates on this type of stuff. It
Yeah.
is it's all very interesting. But regardless, just the optics alone of them not being there on J6, but them being here now, the optics alone are stark. Let's just say that.
Well, they did have them at the faux inauguration. They had 55,000 of them on Capitol Hill for the inauguration. There wasn't a soul that showed up for that, which was the day they actually stole the presidency, and they were afraid that there would be an uprising. So they had them to protect that. If it even happened, that a lot of people were saying, no, it was pre-recorded. It didn't actually happen. They just had all the people guarding it. There was nothing there. Hard to know, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, definitely something was amiss because I was watching it live and I saw two different broadcasts, one from CNN and one from somebody else, that it was supposed to be live. One it was raining and one it was not.
Oops.
And I saw that live. I go, wait a second, something's not making sense here, right?
Somebody didn't read the script.
Yeah, right. And then they panned back and showed there was no crowd from one angle either. So there's definitely some falsehood going on there. And I believe they may have had that military funeral that Derek talks about in that case.
Yeah, I really want to get to a point, before this journey here is over, to get to the point where we say, okay, we finally figured out what is going on over there. And here, point by point, here's what happened. Here's the truth. Here's what we saw. Here's why it looked this way. I don't know if we're going to get there. I may be expecting too much.
I was looking at myself. I needed that.
You needed that little bit of a Neumi refresher if you have it.
So
Yeah.
we are in weird times, though. I think this is getting into the fun. It's scary for a lot of people, but I think this is getting into the fun zone right now, where it has to blow up. Something's going to break. The catalyst could have been the attempted assassination of President Trump. That could be the catalyst. It's interesting, though. Something I've been noticing a lot, and you probably have too. There's an extreme push to blackpill the fact that they say President Trump is just a Zionist. This is just a separate way to trick us into new world order, yada 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 yada. And I say, well, okay. So again, you got to go back to the facts. Tremendously since President Trump first took office, and they continue to go, which I find fascinating. The economy is great. There was no wars under President Trump. So if that was the case, they wouldn't have needed to take 4 years off to awaken anybody. What they would want to do is keep them all asleep, and they would have just continued his 4 years, right? And then they would have ushered us into the ending of the New World Order. So that's why when people say that, I'm wondering, is this intentional? Are they intentionally trying to blackpill? Do they really believe it? Because they're getting angry in the chats now. I mean, like cussing at me, like, how dare you? This MFer, he's this and he's that. And I'm like, no. But again, let's assume that's the worst case scenario. Let's assume that's true. We, the people, are taking back the power. So that group that you claim are all baddies are absolutely making a really bad calculation because they have woken up so many people. We are now taking back our power. We know what's going on. So that's the worst thing they could possibly do. So there's many reasons why I think that's not true. Now, if you want to look at the optics of it, he has mega support publicly for Israel, right? That's the optics of it. But if you have to put the optics together, and he also says saving Israel for last, that would indicate that you're going to show that you have mega support for them. And then I believe the Khazarian Mafia and most of the Ashkenazi Jews will be exposed, and then we'll find out the difference between real Jews and fake Jews. I don't know. What's your thought?
I think more what I'm seeing when I look around, I'm seeing a level of frustration, and it's just mounting and mounting and mounting. And there's always a little bit of hopium when Trump does a rally. It's like, is he going to say something? Is he going to expose something? Is he going to? And the disappointment is it's always the same canned speech over and over again. And there's really nothing brought to the surface that would give you a hint. And I know, I get it, the comms, I know that people are digging into, oh, look, there's 17 flags behind them, and these have fringe, and those don't, and those have a ball on the top, and that has an eagle on the top. I get all that. I hear all that. But it doesn't work for the normal people who are like, please, somebody say something. Let us know that you understand what's going on. And the frustration is just building and building and building. And it's like, and they're starting to see him as a traditional politician now and not as a leader. And I think that's where, as this drags on the way it's been dragging on, I think people are starting to drop out a little bit. They're going to need something. And we're going to need to throw them a bone, I think.
Yeah, they are getting worn out, and there will be a time for sure they got to throw them a bone. But let's look at it from this perspective. If there is a covert war, an informational war going on, right, the disclosures won't come out now. In
Right.
fact, I had a discussion with Alan Fountain, and I've said this publicly before. Some people get upset with me for this, which is fine. We've been sold the narrative of 10 days of darkness, 3 days of disclosure. Everything's going to come out on analog video, and you're going to learn everything that's ever happened. Okay, maybe that's true. I don't know that it is, but I don't think it matters. And people say, "What? What do you mean? Of course we have to know." Because all I'm asking for is that we are put on a level playing field and that our message is not hindered. If that happens, we the people are going to do all the disclosures and do a lot better job than any government entity would ever do at it, because we're unbiased to the disclosures where they would still have some political bias. They may want to
Right.
protect one people that were in a group of 5 that were doing bad, right? We don't have that bias. So I think it's better for us, in my opinion, intellectually, I'm saying this, that we the people do the disclosures. All I ask is that we're completely unhindered. Our message gets out there freely. People can disseminate it, they could dissect it themselves, and we're on a level playing field. Economically, our government is pulled down to about 10% or less of what it is. Very basic things. And then we, the people, will rebuild this. And guess who will write the history properly? We, the people, will. So this is why I'm not quite sure they're going to disclose everything that people want. Maybe they are. That's the easy way. I'd love to take 3 days off and just watch videos of all the disclosures and the hangings and so on and so forth. I'm just preparing people that it may not work that way, and it's okay if we have the ability to do the disclose without getting banned, shadow banned, deleted, and hindered. Then it's really okay because we're going to do a better job.
Never tilt your hand, right? Never let them see what the cards are holding. And I think that's really what we're looking at. And I get it. It's just frustrating. It's really frustrating. And sometimes you just need to take a step back, take a deep breath, go do something else. Don't think about it for a few days, a week, or whatever, and then come back in when you're starting to feel a little bit more grounded. And the frustration starts to wear off. It's what we need to do. We need to take care of ourselves, right? That's what we have. That's where our focus needs to be. And you can't wait for things to happen before you live your life. You got to continue living your life the best you can under the circumstances. I was having this conversation with Phoebe this weekend. It's like, yeah, things are going to happen and things are going to, it's like, well, that may be, that may not be, but we got to live today. What are we going to do today that's going to make the day worthwhile? because you can't sit here and wait and wait and wait and wait. I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when. Why aren't you happy now? Right? And the wait is a lot longer if you're in that, what I call suspended animation. I don't know anyone else uses that. I think the Grinch used that in the movie, but I've been using that term forever too. You can't live in suspended animation, right? You've got to keep going. You got to keep enjoying the moments of your life.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. In fact, one of the biggest challenges I saw with the mask-wearing frogs eating popcorn on their couches and with Nasara Jasara is it had people and the Trust the Plan is it had people freeze. Everybody, not everybody, many people just froze. And they're
Yeah.
like, okay, let's wait for the 3 days of video. Let's wait for the 10 days of darkness. We have to trust the plan. Let's eat our popcorn. Let's do this. Let's do this. That was very dangerous. In fact, if people really go back into history, it's exactly what happened during the Bolshevik Revolution, where it's up in wholesale. But they infiltrated and they just said, don't worry, we've got this. You know what I mean? It's not as bad as you think it is. Everything's going to be fine. Just stay in your houses, stay in your huts. It's not such a big deal. It just, you think it might be, it's not. Well, that was how they appeased the people. So I think it's very important for us as we the people to constantly stand up and say we're going to make a difference. We are taking ownership of this, right? And I can tell you, if we have the opportunity to do the disclosures, I think there's two things that'll happen. Number one, if some bohunk from Alabama gets some great evidence and discloses something, a lot of people are going to pay attention to it, where they'll prejudge it if it comes from the Trump administration, right? So I think it's a bigger opportunity to permeate the public if it happens that way. So I also believe that we, the people, would do a bigger job, better job, and get it faster out there. I'm not saying I don't want the other. I would love it. I'm just saying that, sometimes it's, expectations. When you set yourself up with an expectation, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because if it's a false expectation, well, then you're really expecting something that's never going to happen. So just a food for thought for everybody.
Deep Thoughts with Lewis Herms.
Mhm.
Hey, boys and girls, it's time for a little bit of fun. It is 2-2 time. Here we go. We're going to have a little bit of fun with you tonight. I think it is, time to have some fun with Lewis. Lewis, give us an update on what's going on with the Truth Unity Tour, the Truth Unity Tour. Where did that come from? Unity Tour, TUT.
So, folks, we're excited about this. 2 weeks from tomorrow, we will start.
Boy, that's fast.
The first leg. Can you believe it? The first leg, September 3rd in Jacksonville, Florida, will be the first stop. We're going to go 50 cities in 33 days. Yes, 33. Because guess what? We own the numbers. The Satanists can kiss our asses. They don't get the numbers anymore. We get them. So 33 days, 50 cities. We're excited. The theme is going to be how we can unite. Now, how can we do that? I think most people could agree that we'd like to unite to eliminate New World control, put away our differences, put away whether this person's a Christian or this person's a Buddhist, or whether this person supports Trump or this person supports RFK, or whether this person supports one podcaster and this person hates that podcaster, so they don't want to be there. They don't want to be. No, this is an opportunity for everybody to put that stuff aside and unite together. Just go to unitytour.us. I'm very proud of what we're doing. We had a great meeting today. Things are humming along. We have a lot of work to do still, a lot of work. But I'm going to give you a couple things I wrote down here. So, guys, go to the website and register. It's all free, but the reason why we need you to register is so we have an expectation of how many people will be at an event. Because let's say we have a small venue that maybe holds 70, and we have 200 people booked for that. We're going to have to scramble and get a bigger venue. So please go to unitytour.us and click on all the options. Lisa Richards built a wonderful website. Click on all the options and say, I want to be at this one, and this one, right? We're going to have over 100 speakers speaking across the tour, virtually every name that you've ever thought of. And if you think maybe we haven't, how about you you email us. So go to unitytour.us and send us a message and saying, hey, how about this guy? How about this gal? We'd love to see this person speak, right? If they're a local at one of the 50 cities or around there, have them come over if they have something to say. Maybe something about government going on there. Have them show up. We'll give them a platform to connect with people in their community, right? This is wonderful stuff. If you have a podcaster that you just love and you want to get over here, maybe we don't have their information. Send us their information and we'll contact them, because this is unity. And we are driving 11,000 miles into a little over a month to unite everybody. So your expectation, you can get to one of these stops, right? And the first thing you're going to see is you're going to see beautiful Bruce Poppy playing some tunes, whatever he's going to do, right? He's going to be jamming some tunes. It's going to be really good. Then hopefully, if we have somebody in that area that sings a patriot song, we'll bring them up on stage and they sing a patriot song. So if you have somebody that has a beautiful voice that wants to sing a patriot song, let them know, contact us. We'll put them up at one of the cities and they can sing for us. Then we're going to start with probably local news on that area or maybe that state, which is kind of cool. Bruce will probably run that. And then we're going to go over the 4 pillars. So there's 5 points and 4 pillars. The 4 pillars are New World Control, illegal. And we may have speakers speak on that, or it may be me, it may be Bruce. It depends on who shows up. Then after that, we're going to have the speakers come up and speak, whoever that may be. That may be like a Trina Welch, like we saw today, or a Dallas, or it may be a Michael Jacob, or a 107, or a Kathy O'Brien, all of which have committed already, by the way. So it may be one of those people come up and speak, right? We don't know. We're not even going to tell you what city they're going to be in, right? Because you should be there to unite. This is an amazing event. And then after that, then we're going to show you an amazing way that you can take back your communities. We're working very hard right now on freedominaction.net, where we're giving you the tools how to take back your community, one little piece at a time. Guess what else? We'll have a working, functional app, Freedom in Action app. It'll be on Google Play. It'll be on the iStore. It'll be on a website where you can access that, and you can connect with patriots within whatever range you want. You can put in 10 miles. You can put 4,000 miles in there, and you can connect with them. You can see what they're talking about. You can also do the same for events. What events are going on? Let me see. 100 miles within 100 miles of me. Wow, look at that. This is a game changer. And then we're day of live. And then we're going to finish with, I'll probably make some final speech. Who knows? Because my ego is so big. I got to get on stage last. Anyways, I'll make some final speech, and then we'll play a song that was written by Joe Rosati per my request, called To Unite. And it's a beautiful song. There's several singers on it. We're going to play that. And then we're going to go out with some music. We're going to be packing up, and we're out. Sometimes we'll be there 2 hours, sometimes 3. I can tell you two events are 5 and 7 hours. This is mega, folks. Now, I'm asking for everybody, I'm pleading with everybody to help us get the word out. Please send it all over the place. Unity Tour, you're going to be at the Unity Tour, unitytour.us. Be there. All the podcasters, hey, why haven't you said anything about the Unity Tour? Say something about the Unity Tour. This is a game changer.
Can't wait, Lewis. We're going to be streaming a lot of this too. And I was telling Phoebe, it's like, if I'm going to be streaming 50 of them, people are going to be like, oh God, not him again.
No, they're going to fall in love with you. You
Oh,
watch.
no.
We're going to have millions of people. They're going to fall in love with Robert. And folks, it's free, by the way. It's free online to watch. It's free in person. We're not charging for this. So find a way to get, and somebody may say, oh, wow, this one's 200 miles away from me. Just say, okay, well, Bruce and I are driving 11,000 miles with our buddy Andrew. I think maybe, just maybe, you can drive a couple hundred. And by the way, we did our best to make it as close as possible. So apologies ahead of time if we didn't hit your state or your city, but we really did the most we could in a short amount of time.
Great job, Lewis. Great job. Thank you for all that you're doing. And I know a lot of people are really, really, really pleased to see that there is another tour, because when you said, hey, After the last truth tour, there won't be any more. People got really sad. I got the emails. I got the hate mail, and I'm glad you're coming back onto the road again because they love to see you in their neighborhood.
Well, we need to thank my wife because she held veto power on any new tours, and she said okay right away on this, which I actually thought it would be a battle, and she's like, "Nope, you need to do this." So I thought that was amazing. So God bless her.
Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of God, no, how about godless? What's going on in the crazy land of Chicago? What is that?
Well, it looks like an IUD if I'm correct. Is that what that is?
You are correct, sir. You are correct for sure. That
I
is, gosh,
Now we should also
I,
see. I want everybody to look at this because I'm looking at this right now. So yes, it's a big IUD, blown up IUD, but there's some symbolism here, and this is what the cabal does all the time. If you look
mhm.
at the bottom, does that not look like a vagina? Illustration of a vagina. If you look at the two things popping out of the top, do those look like penises? Yes, this is the game they play. So there's like, oh, it's just benign. It's just an IUD. Well, there you go. There's a little extra visual for you. Lucky you that I pointed it out.
They have a truck or two outside where they're going to perform abortions and
How can they do
vasectomies
that?
for anyone who wants them.
Yeah, it blows me away how they can even get away with that.
Well, there was one lady that was saying they're going to perform an abortion live on stage. I'm like, I don't know if they're going to do that. So we'll see if that's real or not.
Well,
Crazy.
I'm not for abortion. If they are going to do the abortion anyways, I hope they do it on stage because that would be a nice awakening for everybody to see how sick these people are.
Yeah. Yeah. I run out of words sometimes when I talk about these people because it's like they're so crazy and the things they're doing. It's like, what happened? This doesn't even begin to match up with anything that we grew up with, any kind of morality we grew up with. It's like it's all gone.
Yeah, you showed an earlier video of protesters, and in the background was the LGBT through Z LMNOP flag, right in the background. And if people really look up the history of that, that was hijacked. It literally was lesbian, gay, bisexual. It seemed very benign, and at the time, the gays were absolutely persecuted back when this was going on. They were ostracized from society, and whether you agree with it or not, I'm just telling you a fact. So that's why they created the LGBT flag. What happened is the cabal, as they do, because it started to take some grip, they took it over. And if you listen to the original people that created that movement, LGBT, they're very upset when the bad guys came in and infiltrated their movement and took it over. And then that's when they added trans, that's when they added all these other weird things to the flag. And then now they're co opting brown and black as they're trying to include them in the flag in order to get empathy with people of color. It's really sick the way they do things. And that's all cabal. But that's the way the Marxists do it. They see something that's working and then they absolutely take it over and totally bastardize it.
Did you know the B in LBGT proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that there are only two genders?
Because it stands for two genders.
Bisexual.
Now that they heard you, Robert, they're going to change it to LGUT.
UT, yeah, they're going to get rid of the B.
So true. Great observation.
What happens when you're not motivated to go to work, Lewis?
They say Lewis sounds weird. Well, they're saying,
Yeah, your audio is doing this. It's been doing
oh,
that quite a
why is
bit.
it always my audio? That's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
So what
It's
was your
not your
question?
computer.